time my
A petition has reached 100,000 signatures, asking, begging Chunks to offer it year-round. The Chunks spokeswoman said, holiday Chunks require special ingredients we can only get during that magical time of year.
Take your time. Hey, you looking for anything in particular? Cool. That's what we do here. Man, sorry, I can't really say that. Really, they told me not to say anything like that because rumors, you know? All I know is that we're running a business here, and I was told to take in all trades and sell whatever we've got. And listen, I'm not gonna worry about anything other than that. Sounds like a plan. I can also take stuff off your hands too, if that's something you're interested in.
A petition has reached 100,000.
We got a lot. How's it going? Can I help you? Cool. That's what we do here. Yo! This dude came in once trying to sell this whack-looking fish or something. It was still alive. He had it in this big plastic bag full of water and everything. Good size, too. I was trying to tell him I didn't know if we took in things like that, but then my boss came over and told me we absolutely did. And I had to process the sale and store the thing. Man, what a pain in the ass that was. Even weirder, someone came in and bought it like right away. The hell's that about, right? Yo, stay good out there. Hey, welcome to the... Sounds like a plan. See you around.
Civilian City Secure.
So, were you eating at the Sagebrook, or is it just a quick snap from the Terror Brew?
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War. Former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death, on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the Colony War to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terrormorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terrormorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy, perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Ve Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terrormorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terrormorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terrormorph seem at all alarming to you?
I can second, Madam President. What I saw from the report reinforces the idea that this was an anomalous spawning. The other factions are as at risk as we are.
Huh. A fine point, Dr. Kulkarni. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to...
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terrormorphs.
Terrormorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly.
So citywide
Panic.
Yes, ma'am.
At Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. It'll take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on the cutting edge of technology here. It's an exciting place to be.
Now hit him with everything you've got! What are you doing? EM fire, Captain!
thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terrormorphs' influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We'd tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terrormorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, barely holding our perimeter. They said you... Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. As best we can.
For some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terrormorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
Security scanners, chemical sniffers. United Colonies sure isn't taking any chances. populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. The universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terrormorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
That statue. It's beautiful, isn't it? I wonder what the artist was trying to represent.
They said you're free to come and go.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone in the line of duty
there you
is
are.
a tragedy.
I believe
These attacks,
we have some things
they
we should
can't happen
discuss.
again.
Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terrormorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed, first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We see your atypical background as a strength, not a hindrance. The people you'll be dealing with, they're rather atypical themselves. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? It has its perks. Only citizens can purchase property in the city. We also pay reduced prices on most goods and services across the UC. There's also a credit disbursement when you first join. Help get you on your feet. But above all, you'd become a dedicated part of the greatest faction in the galaxy. If you're willing to help us, we can open that door. I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Heroes who missed it down to that space.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
There are so many different routes across the subtle systems, it's hard to keep up with all the work they're doing.
Excuse me? They said it's over, that we can get back to work. I'm going to get any work done today.
These creatures can hit us in New Atlantis.
Did you actually go down there and fight those things?
Pardon?
Bell's been having brownouts all the time. Mast finally sent someone down there, but nothing's changed.
Security in New Atlantis begins with you. Please report any suspicious activity.
This is murder!
that bartender at the viewport would... I'm complaining to security. I don't know what she lost, but she won't get it back by annoying us.
All unit behaviors are dictated by United Colonies Security Code 12.23. This unit has activated. Security office.
I asked my boss what they're doing to stop new alien attacks on the city.
Looks like you got some fines to clear up. Any stolen property or contraband you're carrying will be confiscated.
Contrary to what you might have heard, UC security personnel are good people. And Sergeant Yumi just happens to be an old friend.
Okay, hello. Hope life is treating you well. Let me know if I can get you anything. You're in the right place. Stop by anytime you'd like to catch up.
Hi,
Good to
how
see
are
you again. I hear there's some sort of citizens group trying to get the old Valroon embassy torn down. When I first heard about it, I thought it was a bit extreme, but really, would you want to move into that place? Me neither. And it's not like they're ever coming back. House Valroon, I mean? Well, at least not make nice and be all diplomatic. We all know how that went. See you around. Hope life is treating you well. You know, I had a guy in here last week ranting that General Shao ought to send the Marines down into the well. I'm usually all for letting folks speak their mind. Most times it can't be helped after a few drinks. But that was just too much. Anybody stuck living in the well, it almost certainly isn't by choice. And things down there aren't that bad. Catch you later.
Not used to people coming up to me. The suit usually scares them off. Although I guess that's my fault, isn't it? Yeah, well, I go all over. A little psychological warfare up front tends to make things easier. Retired, actually. From too many lives to count. But I've been all those things, yeah? And a few more. I spend a lot of time in the fringes these days. God help you if you come across something someone wants. You'd think it was things like civilizations and factions that cause people to want to shoot each other. No, even without that, it's still winner take all. Oh, you're on to me. Of course. That's what makes the reality so tragic. Wait a second. I think I'm in danger of having a real conversation with someone for a change. Better stop here. I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Hey there! You look like the planet-hopping type. Got any room on your ship for someone like me? Plenty. I'm comfortable on a ship, especially in the gunner seat. I'm also a trained expert with shotguns. I have the certification to prove it. Aye aye, Captain. I won't overcharge you. I'm grateful for the offer. I've been out of a job since I left the Freestar Rangers. You're short on credits? I'm glad you understand the position I'm in here. Ha! That's a good one. You don't know what you're talking about. I feel for you, but I can't work for that little. I have to make a living. Oh, well, I guess there's no accounting for taste, huh? If you change your mind, I'll be here.
Since the Colony War.
The law's the law, sir, and that one's still on the books. I got New Atlantis Security Charter 2308 Addendum, Article 2, Section 8.
Yeah, I got caught. You made all that up. There is no such addendum. The war ended almost 20 years ago. I am Representative Evans Chisholm of the Freestar Collective. I've been coming here for months trying to ensure continued peace.
I don't make up the laws, Representative. I just enforce them. You have a good day now. Someplace else.
Try not to lure any of those Xeno critters here, okay?
What? Can't you see I'm dealing with something? Did you not hear? They won't let me enter the city. Me, a political envoy who comes here constantly trying to help prevent another war. And this is the thanks I get? They won't let me enter without a diplomatic visa? Ridiculous. Oh, really? And here I am biting your head off. Apologies. I'm just, well, rather flustered. Look, if you have time, could you please go to the Freestar Collective Embassy and speak to a diplomat? They'll know what to do. Fine. Seems like I'm at everyone's mercy today.
Have a good one.
Good work with the bartender. Won't be the last time you'll be hustling information in some spaceport.
What was the name of that guy?
The guards will check you at the elevators. Try not to make a fuss. Welcome to the Freestar Embassy. Is there something I can help you with? Typical UC security. They try to bully us every chance they get and still manage to play the victim. I'll get this squared away with the folks down at the spaceport. Thanks for letting us know.
Well's been having brownouts all the time. Mast finally sent someone down there, but...
Hello. You've seen these orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terrormorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. No. Each is a strip of several million random numbers generated on the fly based on biometric keys kept by each of the ambassadors on their person at all times. They're impossible to create without those keys, and those keys stay with the ambassadors, meaning we're accessing nothing if we can't get them on our side.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Radcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmor stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice.
Well said. There's no reason to assume they're any worse than us, despite their cultural beliefs.
Of course, but there is another wrinkle. We're not 100% sure Balmor's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting.
Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador. The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out.
Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
It would at least be a speedier negotiation. But I, of course, hope the ambassador is alive and well.
Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Keeping the skies safe out there?
This space is a memorial to those lost during the colony war. Your consideration is requested.
Never a better time than right now to settle down and make New Atlantis home. If you're a citizen, of course. Welcome to Feeling Realty. I'm Zora, and I'm here to help with whatever you may need. What brings you in today?
Looking to settle down or move up in the world or just window shopping? That's fine. It happens all the time. I never mind an opportunity to chat with someone new. I'm here if you have any more questions or if you'd like to look at properties. Okay, let me just pull up your data. Oh, I'm sorry, but you're not a United Colony citizen. I'm afraid property ownership here in New Atlantis isn't available to you. If you take the exciting step of becoming a citizen, we'll be here for you. Oh, don't I wish. Between UC regulations and demand here in the city, I haven't had a chance to branch out yet. But you best believe I'm keeping an eye on the situation and actively lobbying for a little more leeway. Enjoy your time in New Atlantis!
You our visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office. Go on through.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. But you lead, and I'll follow.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. That means you.
It's good to be back at the embassy. Most times, entry to New Atlantis is seamless. But on occasion, you have officers who want to settle all grievances.
Terrormorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants Terrormorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance, one, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. The warmongers of the UC will find a way to make it dangerous. You have my word. I could be the hero here. And the archival monitors could ensure that's all you take. Huh, that would work. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. We will be ensuring the monitors only permit you access to items related to stopping these Terrormorphs. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
This building is Freestar sovereign territory. So in here, we're the law.
They tell me it should only take a minute. And there. Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess. People often mistake rivals for enemies. We don't have to like each other to do the right thing.
Nicely done.
Guests can make themselves comfortable in the lobby.
I suppose we're in this together now.
hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, when it seems like only yesterday.
The Free Star Collective. A collective of snakes. You gotta be kidding.
Maybe we should stop for a moment at the memorial. You know, to pay our respects.
Fine. I'll begin the process. Wouldn't want to withhold a chance for more red tape from the great UC. If you have an appointment, they'll check you at the door.
When someone insults you, you want to just beat the shit out of them sometimes, but you don't.
Well, not quite what I was thinking, but that's actually a great example, Marcus. The man in the story was cruel. Do you know why he was cruel? You must feel what he feels, understand his pain, accept it, and deliver it not back upon him.
Empathy. You mean empathy? But you say it like it's easy. Like anyone can just love a terrible person who has been terrible to them.
Yeah, why even bother? I mean, isn't the cycle of humanity peace and war back and forth, like forever? Seems kind of pointless to try so hard for something that won't last. Nothing ever really changes.
It's not easy, no, but necessary. Because you see, everything has changed. God has given us the intelligence, the ingenuity to reach into the stars, to travel his path, to truly find him. But we can't do it alone. The only way is through unity. Yes. Unity. Well, I'm sure you all have other things to do. Thank you for taking the time to stop and talk with me. Is there anything I can help with?
I don't know. I had this grav jump.
I may not always have the perfect advice for people, but I try to just be here for them. I think that's what they really need more than anything else. Were you seeking worldly wisdom or just a friendly ear? It would, wouldn't it? Well, if you find it, be sure to come back and let me know. It would make the next sermon more memorable, if nothing else. And in the meantime, while it isn't quite so profound, I might suggest reading some of our works. Among the Grav Jumps is a good place to start. I'm sure you can find a copy lying about. And if you do decide to read it, perhaps you'd let me know what you think. See if it speaks to you, as it has to others. Understandable. The things I've forgotten over time. Well, you could fill more than a few books. As I said, I'm sure there's a copy somewhere. Might jog your memory. And it would give us an opportunity to discuss the ideas, which I would thoroughly enjoy. If you do read it, you know where to find me.
It's a shame House Varun abandoned their embassy. I bet we could have learned a lot from one another. Can you imagine how many credits flow through this place? Figuratively, of course. This isn't what I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy. Seen a tree like this before in my entire life. It'd actually be more fascinating if its branches weren't blocking our way. Set aside anything useful and just leave the rest.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss. Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of Terrormorphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On Terrormorphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Now, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
As the chair of Constellation, I take personal responsibility in vouching for this man's integrity. He'll keep his word.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me. Let's hope it still works. And there. Let it be used for good. The Great Serpent guide your path. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject. House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not believe the Serpent decides such things on a whim. So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit, as is the right of all his followers. It was tolerable, even pleasant, when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. Our native flora, our iconography, our connection to the Serpent, they came with us. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent has always provided me a path in my darkest moments. The Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars, it was the Serpent that compelled him to found his now great house. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us, shepherding us through the dark and infuses our lives with the meaning the universe so often fails to provide.
If I were you, I'd put that back.
I will not have House Varun be known all...
an application today to become part of the most advanced technology corporation in the settled systems.
It's been a pretty good year overall. We outperformed our projections.
What? Oh.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement. So the old man was still lurking around in there. Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
Hey.
It's amazing to think that this tree predates New Atlantis. Can you imagine all the changes it's seen?
After the UC Navy's defeat at the Battle of Cheyenne by the Freestar Collective's ragtag fleet, both sides decided the time had come to bring the colony war to an end. So, the two parties came together to
You got your clearances? Good.
We've been expecting you. Please approach the monitoring station and we will go over the rules. Welcome, Captain, to the Archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
Captain. Deputy told me what went down. Impressive work.
Captain, if you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers, and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. Yes. It will be. Percival and I have done our damage. This is us starting to put some things right. You're carrying the most comprehensive collection of information on Terrormorphs in the known universe. If we can't pry an answer out of there, it likely doesn't exist. Certainly doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we're not gonna know until Percival and I dig in, so whenever you're ready. Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
You're in the Vanguard, right? Hey, thanks for your service.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies? It doesn't. We don't really care where else you might have been or might become a citizen. Once you earn your place in the United Colonies, it's yours. Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the Terrormorphs. And they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms? I'm sorry. I can't share any more without your word. Do I have it? Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
my entire life, and I had no idea this place even existed. The UC certainly excels at keeping secrets.
Logging authorized entry. Unsealing access. You may proceed down the corridor. But there are no additional visitors permitted. Your friend's gonna have to wait out here.
I'll be fine. You go on ahead.
Welcome, Captain. Please, come down and approach the intercom. You and I should chat. President Abeyo was kind enough to give me a few files to peruse. Quite the series of accomplishments you've managed. But now you face a foe unlike any other. An invisible enemy, lurking in the shadows. You're going to need all the help you can get, which is why I hoped we could speak. Do you know who I am? I'm Francois Sanon, but most know me as Victus. I was an admiral during the Colony War. One of its great villains, if you believe the slates. I was to be executed for my crimes, but the previous regime deemed me too valuable to simply discard. So they put me here, a sacrifice on the altar of peace. Even my death served the colonies. One final act of rebellion by the leadership that lost the Colony War. The trial was authentic. I faced tribunal with dignity, but my execution, staged. A lethal injection that was anything but. The cabinet at the time, long gone now, wished to keep me on as an advisor. And considering the other option, I was in no place to refuse. So I elected to trade my freedom for my continued existence. But such is the life of a soldier. Very astute. That's my daughter. My progeny. You've been working alongside. Has she shared with you the nature of our little family? Did she? So willing to trust Hadrian. I never did succeed in driving that out of her. Our relationship has always been a challenging one. The Major was born to become a great leader, carry on the legacy I established, and was given all the finest training to support it. And she excelled. But the universe cut all that short. Now, though, it's placed even more crucial work in front of the two of you. And I think I have a part to play in helping you accomplish what you've set out to do. After some long years earning the trust of this current regime, the UC has been permitting me to work alongside one of their recovery teams, helping them gather intelligence on, locate, and organize scenarios to lure in some of the criminals that evaded justice after the Colony War. With quite a few successes, I might add. But in the process, I managed to find something else. The names and locations of Hadrian and Percival's old research team. Valuable manpower for the effort you're about to embark on. I'll tell you where they are, but in exchange, I need something dealt with. There is a former colleague of mine, a man by the name of Dr. Reginald Orlaise. Like myself and Hadrian, he was involved in some of the United Colony's more problematic lines of research. Mech weapons were his specialty. If it dealt death, he could make a deal more. When the colony war ended, he fled, refusing to face tribunal, and has continued to peddle his skills to the highest bidder to this day. But I finally found him. I want you to track him down and deal with him. However you're able. I'm not expecting he'll come quietly. Bring me evidence that the job's done, and I'll tell you what I know. Captain, your files indicate a track record of unlikely successes. It is my genuine hope that, perhaps down the line, you might become a part of our team. And this might be something of a tryout. You can certainly try, but the man's been out there 20 years. He's likely gone feral by now. Easier for all if you simply blow up his ship and be done with it. If that's what you require to sleep at night, so be it. According to my information, he's been hiding around the world of Etheria, Wolf System. There is a star station in the vicinity, the Den. The head of the local vanguard, one Captain Marquez, should be able to help you find our man.
Identity verified. You may proceed to the exit.
To Venus? Sounds good. Lead on.
You're cleared for entrance.
You trying to get us thrown into prison?
Greetings, citizen. Welcome to the UC.
Okay, hello.
Captain, did your meeting go well? I hope it's clear now why we needed you to agree to all the secrecy. Captain, please, keep your voice down. The situation with the prisoner is a complex one. A holdover from a different era. But it's a situation we've been managing as discreetly and humanely as we can for some time now. And the most critical part of that management is making sure no one else learns of it. Do I make myself clear? The Major doesn't have clearance for this sort of information, and she certainly doesn't need a distraction from her current, very important work. Which is why I need you to keep this to yourself. Good. Because bringing this up to the outside world would create the unfair appearance, Captain, that you're unhinged. And that's not a good look for any of us. Now, Was there something in particular you needed to discuss about what we were just discussing? Dr. Reginald Orlaise? He's finally found him. Of course, killing Orlaise is completely out of the question, but bringing him to justice... He's been on the lam for years. That'd be a huge win for the UC. What's being offered in return? Allowing you to kill someone on behalf of the prisoner? Absolutely not. But taking the chance to bring a known criminal to justice? Well, the old man's been right more than a few times in the past. So, what's being put on the table here? Really? He found the members of the research team. We'd already initiated a search for them, but it'd save a lot of time and manpower if he just gave us that information. Captain, if that's the deal, you have my endorsement. Just so long as you make every effort to bring the man in alive. Now, was there anything else you wanted to discuss regarding your meeting? The Den? It's a star station. Orbiting Wolf, the second star station actually to bear that title. The first one was blown to smithereens by House Varun during the Serpent's Crusade. The place has always acted as a remote strategic hub, primarily for repairing and refueling UC military vessels. But because of its distance from the rest of the UC, things there have always been a little more lax. Patrols included. I can think of worse places in the galaxy for a criminal to hide out. Trusting the man downstairs would be a mistake, but I don't think you need to be too concerned. This is far from the first name he's handed over, and all previous missions went off largely without a hitch. So while I'd certainly warrant caution, I think you can proceed. Then I'll bid you good day, Captain, and remind you of the importance of discretion.
Chef school? This ain't exactly where I saw myself.
Got anything on your scanner?
Sales are up significantly since what happened at the spaceport. People want to feel safe. Welcome to Centurion Arsenal. It is my absolute pleasure to assist you with any purchases or questions you may have. All sales are final, but that won't matter because you will undoubtedly be pleased with your purchase. You have my word. Is that a surprise? These are potentially matters of life and death we're talking about here. Well, that's not a simple question, is it? It all depends on who's asking. I have my own personal favorites, but I wouldn't presume to know yours. Tell me, were you to find yourself in the unfortunate position of needing to use a weapon, what suits you best? Something up close and personal? Rapid fire? Is precision a consideration? Ah, yes. Well, then personally, I would point you towards Combatech. Only the finest collection of armaments in the settled systems.
Whoa, whoa! What the hell are you firing at?
There's nothing that ensures personal safety and security the way a firearm can. I'm sure you already know there's no one-size-fits-all solution for person.